Hello, this is my Minecraft video. This is sponsored by Jay. I'm joking. However, Jay, this is for you about 3 years too late.
This video has been sponsored by Raid Challenge and it's
Yes.
download the app from the Google Play Store.
Sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Okay, dead on now. We've started the stream. You better dead on. After that game of Overwatch, right? Do you hear me?
Achievement unlocked, Blackjack. Alright then.
What are you on about? Yeah, I'm just gonna play some party games.
Play the game McMeme, obviously.
Currently, we're gonna be doing solo party games until someone gets on. Which is extremely depressing.
Lovely lunch.
Oh, and you're literally on stream. Why are you being so weird?
I was stretching, mate.
Yeah, it sounds like you're having...
It sounds like... Alright, be right back.
Hey, anyone watching the stream, don't bully me on that. That was absolutely horrendous, I know that. That's that reason you shouldn't bully me on it. Boom. Boom.
Or...
Just bullying some people in the RPG mode.
God.
But on stream as well. How does it feel to get bullied on stream? Oh, you don't care. That's really sad. Boom. Boom, 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 boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
Why does the double jump never work when you want it to work? Boom, boom. Second, okay, that's not that bad. The floor is lava. No. No! Guys, press F in the chat.
Did you lose? Haha.
I fell on the parkour. Okay, I drew up. And then I do it after. I just heard like a car go off in the background.
Hoopty hoppity, that's my property.
Oh, and you just said on stream. How will everyone in the chat feel? Oh wait, no one cares.
Make your give party invite, yes.
Yes, I will. Wait, are you in?
Oh god. Oh!
Oh, and by the way, you might want to watch the stream when you're on game. You see this intense battle of the centuries. What? No? Why is there a jump mechanic if it doesn't work? No, not this one. This one absolutely scares me. Okay, so I need over there. Holy moly, that gave me a mild heart attack.
Pneumonia!
Okay, you're the type of thing we need in a Minecraft video. Delete. And I finished that first. "60 seconds to is left." Wait, Owen, are you watching my stream? Cause you're not. Oh my god, my voice. Anyway. Oh no. No! I'm lagging. What? Owen?
Hmm?
You are there? No, why am I lagging so much? Yes! The game! My internet is working, yeah. Let me just close that. Now, it's round 2 of party games, and this time we are joined by Le French Bidet, otherwise known as Mop.
No!
No, not this one! Okay, guys, the game is biased. We're not gonna win this.
You're gonna get nailed, aren't you? Sorry, mate, but did you want to jump? I love hitting people with fish, man.
What, IRL or like in game?
Ah! No! Been bap! 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 Nee!
If you would please give me the reason why I'm so bad at this, then I would really appreciate it. Like,
you got trash FPS.
on
Let
my,
me go.
only on my stream.
Ah! I want to hit that person. Yes. Sorry, Ollie.
Right.
Yes! Yes!
Guys, I feel hacked. This kid right here.
You got Let's go, lads. Let's go. He calls hacks.
I got a blue.
I've got to go line. I'd like to thank my arms for always being by my side. And my legs for always supporting me.
Do the things I need to do.
No! Damn it! So
Whoa,
close!
where were you guys?
I was launching down the track, but then I almost got past that person. God damn it, not this! Why are we
Owen?
specifically on this island? Why can't we go to the other islands? That would be so much more fun.
Yeah, after this, you'll go on to Slidebox and find out some more viewers by give away a really small one though, because we're like, how many subscribers off now? Like 5?
0. Bang. Bang. I hope someone dies. Die. How did I not kill that person?
Yeah, we need 5 more subscribers, guys.
No, guys, 5 more subscribers. That was easy. No, boy!
Get behind underneath, get underneath.
I'm the lonely one. I'm the lonely one, man.
I'm not lonely, I have
My
a lot.
nickname is lonely one.
I have a lot of people. Oh, hello.
Why are you looking at my arsehole?
Owen, this is meant to be a PG family friendly 13 clean channel.
PC-13 clean, yes. I wish you could punch people right now, because then everyone would be like, oh no, I don't want that anymore.
Do you know you can actually manually dodge the snowballs?
Yeah, but then it's a pain in the bloody arse.
This is meant to be a PG family friendly channel!
Mate, your nan's a cock.
Okay, you can actually stop now.
No, why would I?
Because it's actually PG family friendly clean.
Why is this over here?
I can't even see!
It's over here. Bye, someone actually. Oh wait, one person did die. R.I.P. most people. No, Ollie! God damn it!
I just took out a load of people. They manually dodging the snowballs. No one likes you, Jason. I'm joking. We love you.
Flipping axe of dirt.
Axe, dirt, stone.
Stone, dirt, axe, stone, axe, stone, axe, dirt, axe, dirt, axe,
Stone.
stone,
Axe, dirt, stone,
stone,
axe.
Wait, why are we saying axe and wood?
I don't know. Please continue to say them, they were helping me.
Yeah, Kate. Come on, Ollie. No!
Oh my
You
god.
won't look away!
Stupid K-pop bands. I'm joking.
Came off. No!
Guys, we don't.
It would be.
I go first person for this. What about you, Owen?
I go, third person.
What is this?
Hell. As you can clearly see, I went through that one, but it was like, no, you die now. I hear someone coming up my butt. Is it X on an alt account?
Yep. Apparently, I'm Esso's alt.
How am I going so fast? Oh my god. This is too fast.
Yeah,
I'm still going so fast!
you ever just reach a point where it's just too fast?
Hey! Chicken, you can sit down now. Chicken, can you stop? Chicken.
Breathe!
Speed!
Kicking down the floor! My first star! No! I mean, they're targeted as well. Only you are.
The MVP plus.
Yeah, and then you're there targeted, you wasn't in your first place.
Bye, Rex. Why me? Shadows. Get Rex, Shadow. No. Why me, eh? Oh. That girl has realised she made a mistake. I would say it, but then Ollie would get mad. When I say mistake, I failed.
I knew you would say that. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. No!
Mate, you got killed by Rex! Yes!
You're an actual tryhard. Yeah, after if you don't know Hypixel, find out, I said to some viewers. Owen, this is what we're known for.
No.
If anyone dies on the first one, they have diddled muff.
Someone died on the first one.
No, they have, not us. What?
I jumped and it
Yeah,
was
same.
like, let me know.
Yeah, same. It's what we're known for as well.
Remember that one time when we got up to like 35?
It's actually like 27, or like, but yeah, it's like that more.
No, it was 35.
My dude!
Levels leveled up! Yes, lad!
Alright.
Top kill is me, then Wafer, then Killer, then Exo.
I don't think that's how it should be. So we don't just like lots. I want to see if. Okay, we need to find out something that looks good to find the people in. Like, Owen, look at chat. Join.
Set the party to like, yeah.
/stream. Okay, I need to be in like, what's it called? I'll obviously do that. Just make the party public.
Yeah.
/stream. Done. Custom. We're having 1,000 players in the party. Yeah, 100.
Oh, that's funny to get your YouTube channel up and shit now.
Yeah. Just on stream. Okay,
I like
Owen.
how your channel's here just like, yes, I've got 17 subscribers with 2 videos.
Who has?
You.
What? No, one channel.
There's Wafer Thing Gaming, which is your normal one, with 110% gaming on it. And then
Okay,
there's Wafer Thing Gaming!
That's my old one.
With flipping Wafer Thing Gaming plays Mario
Look
Kart.
at my views though.
Flipping 144 altogether, well done.
No. On one of the videos, there's like 100 views.
I'm just gonna check out the screen. Oh my god.
Hey, Killer then. Killer, you better be...
Hello, killer.
Killer, you better be more family friendly than Owen.
Nah, then good luck with that.
Yeah, okay, very good luck with me. So we don't do like... Okay, what are we going to say in chat? Oh, hi Killer, hi Killer.
Ollie,
Yeah?
I like how when I go onto your stream, it shows up with random jazz to do with like yeah.
Well, why can't I warp you? Stop P warp.
Yeah, because Hypixel kicked me for no apparent reason.
Get in my server.
Yeah, Joe's current building the damn roof. Bonus! And 20% more skill experience. Whoa.
Do you have anything to sell or give away? I know. I
don't know. Let's do drugs.
No, hardened diamond. What? I don't need those. No. I have my inventory is full enough already. I'm dropping some of this glass off the edge. This isn't mine. I just found some random guy and he just passed it to me in the lobby. Also, I'm drinking this mana
Oh
potion.
man, I needed that glass.
Did you? Anyway.
Anyway, I'm just gonna dismiss that.
Speed!
I have more speed than you! Gotta go faster. Speed stair go up.
Where even are
Upstairs
you?
as fast as- Up in the house right now. Spank the chicken. Spank.
No, we're meant to be a family-friendly YouTube channel!
And then I'll shoot. I'll shoot you with my baton.
So I've been friends with this bullshit.
Hey, pew. Look here. There's gonna be a mob over there. Pew.
Cactus Farm!
The crappiest cacti farm in the west. I just picked up a cacti from it.
Should I say like, what should I say in chat, like, streaming on the YouTube, / P Wayfin Damon for giveaway soon.
Just P join.
/ P join Wayfin Damon giveaway soon or something like that.
Nah. Should we just do like bed wars and just like advertise it whilst playing the game?
Or shall we go into like this thing and say Bed Wars tournament winner gets what help? What just
Cack farm, yes, let's go to the cack farm.
or like cocaine and ketamine? Oh, he's stuck. Oh, he's not. The cactus farm is amazing.
I can
by the
do
way.
this though. Hurry!
What happened to your grappling hook, Killer?
Meow. Oh man, I can smell myself some potatoes.
I can smell. Oh my god, why is there look at the cactus farm?
Ollie, look at me. Ollie.
I don't know it.
Ollie, look at me. Meow.
No!
I am not in the sky. Ignore me. 180, boy. No! Damn it! You died and lost 0.1 coins.
Be- We're not. Oh my god, no. We just went to a Bed Wars lobby. Okay, no, that didn't work.
Hey killer, look at me. Bow. Ollie, what's your monitor resolution?
I don't know. Don't you dare do that.
What?
You can't go to Bedfall's lobby, one boy.
No, we can't. Okay, so it's just advertising random lobbies. Yeah, can you not stream like that? I'm in the middle of streaming. If you would please give me the reason why. Yes, I am back. I'm back, guys. Yeah, can you not stream like that? I'm in the middle of streaming. Owen? Alright, I'm back. Let me try and find a really big. I can get into Bedwell's lobby number 1 and advertise my channel.
Look at that.
How do I say? Let me find. Let me ask you say. Can I say that? And then I'm gonna leave this lobby because this lobby is way too laggy. We have someone joining the lobby.
Yes, very, very nice. Good call.
How many people do we have in our party? 4 currently. Someone leave the party. What is that sound? Who's fighting? Can we have another one? Oh, and you go around as well. We need the more the better. The bigger lobbies, by the way, are better to do it in.
Oh, hello there, Sherlock.
My cream, mate.
Well, you know, they're the same thing. They're annoying, loud.
Faggot! Ooh. Oh, yeah, I've got... you see this lovely AFK farm? I made it.
No?
Hello there.
Who's the other guy?
Alex, do /p join wafer thin gaming.
How many?
Fusion wafer thing.
Thin. THIN.
THIN.
I got another one.
There we go.
There we go.
What? One more needed for what?
That was just before you joined.
How many kids are in this party?
8.
Right, we're going. Right,
What
me and
game?
Alex join. Oh no, we can't. I'm going blue then, I guess.
Next I'm being Luma.
Oh god, Owen.
Ollie, you should have nicked. You should have nicked, Ollie.
I should have nicked.
It doesn't matter.
Can't
Right,
you?
I'm gonna have to say it. Like, how? Why should you have nicked? There's no point in nicking.
No, but because what's it called? They'll go after me.
By
Yeah.
the way, I'm probably gonna be really shit at this because I don't play this. I normally main on.
Oh no, we've got a Honda VTEC engine here, boys.
What? Samus and Tokyo do good, I agree.
Wait a second. Well, how do I have 43 iron already?
Buffed generators, maybe?
No, I haven't put any special things on. After this, by the way, we don't have a duos tournament. Duos
Oh
Bed Wars.
boy! Whoever teams up with Wafer or X or
What?
No,
How?
no, by the way, I'm...
No, wait.
Oh,
For his
my
crap
bad.
at PvP. I can.
Whoa, fuck. Oh god, that was horrible. That was a horrible play.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ, man.
Oh, you're live streaming. Oh boy.
Also, I'm
No! No! Oh my fucking god! I can't do this. I can't do this. Ah, I'm so pissed off. Like,
Don't worry, this video I put on it that is not made for children.
Not made
Okay.
for children.
fuck me.
yeah, it's got Ollie in it. What do you expect? It's not.
It has you in it, Owen.
Well, it's also got Killer in it. Well,
Nah, has you, mate. You're flipping.
Oh, I'm never
dangerous
rushed over
children
to.
to play with.
who is Kamindo? Is he in our party?
No, we just have a lot of random
Alright,
people.
we just want like fucking die.
What it's basically is, there's a load of, it's just a private thing, but with a load of tryhards. Hello? Hello?
Hello,
Yeah, I don't know why my thing is
Oh
doing
man, I just got flipping bullied.
get back in and do /rejoin.
No, I'm already in.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I kind of want to bully Owen. Like
Yeah,
this.
you really should. He stares us all. Like, he's an actual tryhard at this game.
Oh, of course he is. It's
Well, just because
Bedwars.
I can flipping jitter click and shit.
I can jitter. Look. Max, I can jitter click with a 15 season.
Unlucky! VTEC man's here to clap us all.
VTech man.
I told you Honda VTEC's are bloody broken, mate.
By the way, I'm saying, first to 3 wins the tournament.
Oh boy.
This is a tournament.
I mean, technically, yes. In reality, it's just
No.
yes. No. There's no reward for winning except for knowing that you're better than everyone else.
That sounds about right.
Yes.
yes, 3. Yeah. Yeah. That person just finds out we're from the UK. Alt F4.
Oh god.
Alright, come on, we need to get a bit more bed destroying action in here. Come on, Owen.
As you know, 2 wins.
Get the fuck away from my bed, you homophobic piece of shit. Gay motherfucker, I don't even have any wool to get back to base. Right, meet
Does
me
that
at...
mean I can go to get my diamonds? My well-deserved diamonds?
No!
Oh, yeah,
VTech!
Mate, you've
Right,
got
let's have a fair fight.
VTech.
Let's have a fair fight.
Yeah,
Come here.
expect
Get
to
your
get
gay
servers
ass
that you
in
got
here.
under VTech.
Before you buy sharpness, before you fucking... Oh, you gay piece of shit.
I have both sharpness.
Oh, fuck, that's an iron sword. Hell no, that's a red player. I feel like this is about to go to hell.
VTech is absolute beast.
Yeah, what the fuck can I do? When he has iron, and then there's me, like, stone and that. Fuck's sake. Well, some people in here are very gay. As we
You're
can...
gayer. How gaudy.
No, Uno revert.
Flip! There's no bridge! Nay!
Wait, does that mean he just died? Oh. I was hoping
I
that
probably
was...
want to end red.
After tournaments, don't be duos.
Le French baguette, jump off the island, nobles.
Sorry, but you're talking to someone who has no gender.
Okay. Jump off the island, or you want to suck my pee-pee?
Owen, if you look over
Hey,
here...
I can jump off the island! I jumped off the island.
No, as in, like, into the void.
Why would I? Okay, jump into the void. Oh, look, I jumped into the void, but went back onto the island.
No, my god.
Oh my god, he got
Die in the
Flash W.
I don't actually know what my pack is. I got it from William, friend. I'm going to my chat right now. You're
Unlucky.
Carlton, you're actually lucky. One of our people left. I will add you to the party.
This is the end of Age of Extroverts.
This is the age of me about to get clapped.
Who is these?
Who the hell's Mr. Krabs?
Someone in my YouTube chat. He said he wanted to join it. So
Alright then!
why not? Why don't we let him join? Why should I invite you? If you want to join, then you can join. VTech, by the way, is an actual mad lad. VTech
I
won
came
that.
second!
I decided to kill himself. Oh hey,
No, I tried speed bridging, but I messed up.
fuck all of you.
How cool of me, yes.
Yeah. Do the duos. Do the duos.
No. It's supposed to 2 wins, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need one more people, one more person.
Alex, hi, Alex, hi.
Guys, we need one more person.
I would do drags in Skyblock, but I just spend my money on random shit that I do not need. Like when I have a max AOTD or AOTE, I just spend another 100k on a golem sword. Like absolute casual player right here.
Yeah, my armor set and all that at the moment is probably worth about $1 million-ish.
What armor set do you have?
I have almost full dragon protection, and all of them apart from the boots have got Titanic on them.
Also, you can't do what's it called?
Hardy!
No, not UHC. Owen would just pop up here and be like,
Hey, Exo's online!
oh, Exo joined, hello.
Exo, the beast is coming in.
Yes, Exo!
The kid I had to carry many times in Bed Wars.
Would probably now carry you in all honesty.
Is he actually that good?
He's fairly good though.
Ollie!
Yeah. You join. What's our party like now?
7 people.
We need one more person still.
Kayla, how do you not have a client yet?
What do you mean, client?
Like Badline client or anything like that?
What's that?
It makes your game run way fucking smoother.
Oh no. I've just never had one.
Download Badline client.
Right,
Guys,
just play bloody Bed Wars. Is that what we were supposed to do? So
if
play
no one
Bed
else is
Wars.
joining, then we're just gonna play Bed Wars with 7 people.
Oh god. Let's
I
go
want
for
to
the
go on,
gay
grey.
blue.
Again,
go-
I'm grey, man. Okay, wait, never mind. I don't want to be on grey. Yes, I'll go white team then.
What's his name?
Wait, what? I thought I was blue. I clicked on blue, you fucking bitch.
Don't
Alright.
swear, you little nints.
Oh, shut up, you homophobic orphan.
You hacking frick.
You heckin-
Why are you targeting me? No!
If VTech wins, he gets the entire thing. What is this thing?
No, Peter, if he wins the entire thing.
Why is enchanted wolf?
I forgot I made my name very gay.
Yeah, look at it. It looks like a smeg.
XX Alex Gaming XX. What a
My
gay-
name is the best name. If you argue with it, I will literally kill you.
You French baguette.
Hey, it's Exo. Oh yeah, Exo. Sounds P. Sorry.
Right, I have a diamond den right next.
I swear, this kid,
Jesus Christ, Owen.
It's not me, mate.
Yeah, but you did kill someone. You just took out a team.
Who's pink? Oh boy.
No, don't you dare tap pink.
If you attack pink, you're gay.
If you tap
Then
pink,
I guess some.
if you tap
This is
pink,
making
you,
sense.
if
I
you
wanna
tap
attack.
pink, you have the bink.
like that's
Yeah.
annoying. I didn't even have enough time to get any bloody defense down, and that bitch had to come and fuck me up. Right, someone come and kill Red, quick. Red's bed is completely exposed.
Yeah, well, VTech has got them already. To be fair,
Wait,
VTech.
VTech will literally two-tap them.
Why is VTech so good?
I don't know, VTech's just flipping Honda. No, he's not a Honda VTech, mate.
He's a
He's
Honda
flipping, what other companies is VTech? Can't remember.
I don't actually know.
I'm being called by my girlfriend. I really cannot be asked to pick up.
Wait, you have a girlfriend? Oh wow, what's it
Crikey,
called?
that's first, so wait.
What's the meme? It's like
It's
you
not.
Simp.
simp, yes.
I basically did a miss. Girl.
Simp.
I
Simp.
slap a woman. Shut up.
Simp.
Okay.
No, he flipping threw a fireball at my bed.
Ah, fuck.
It blew up one block.
Why am I so bad at this?
Wafer.
It blew up one block.
Wafer, what's your YouTube?
One.
Just wait for Damon. He's that same.
Someone put it in the link and I'll just subscribe and then just like forever not watch anything. Yes.
Oh,
Papa? Yes.
My man.
What is Wafer doing up there? I don't even have armor.
Oh man, look at you.
and he's to be welcome. Yes. If you join.
no
jo-
noob.
also-
I got it.
Oh yeah. By the way, you can advertise your guild.
Yeah.
I give you permission to advertise your guild.
I don't have my guild on actual, like, you know,
Alright.
public though, which is big sad. What the hell? VTech.
I chose a very ungay name.
Go away. Well, I just helped you there. I just helped you.
Kabam, Shazam, and bed's gone.
Oh boy, that means Owen is next to me. Is Owen's bed gone? Oh, fuck, of course.
No, mine is.
Shank.
No! Wait, VTech left!
Shank.
All I hear is shank and a brrrr.
VTech left.
Big F to VTech.
Guys, what are we doing after? What are we doing after this? We need. What, guys? After this, we're gonna be doing team bed wars. So we need a load of players.
Can we do
Oh,
Skype?
Alex Gaming fell on the void. I see that bed. I see that.
I see your head up your fucking ass. So, do you want to like come break my bed, or do you want to kill me first? Or do you
Yeah,
want-
Red's closing in on you as well. You know Red's behind you and get your bed.
Oh fuck this! This is. Watchdog you. Right, yeah, you go underneath. I'll let you two fight. Fucking
No,
get off
why?
my property!
How do you have 24 HP? Oh!
No!
Damn it, I'll lean lover. My hands are so cold. Oh boy. That's why I.
I want to buy that, and I want to buy that, so I don't get stabbed up the ass by this Hoover. I'm just gonna call Unli
Mine's
Hoover.
big
You
F.
Hoover, son of a bitch! Come here now.
Mate, I will shove you into Vancouver.
Well, he fucked up.
Watch some shit. Mate, let me pass and then I can get his.
My
Damn.
KB, goddammit. Shut the fuck up.
If you let me pass, I can go get his bed and be annoying crab boy. Just
Yes,
stay.
yes, just go. Just pretend I'm a random non called,
Gay boy 69.
yes, Playboy69 and there's Tommy in it.
Guys, after this, I'm going to Unicorn.
No.
Shut up.
Nay!
I got this! It's alright.
Oh my god. What is happening here? By the way, you do know that you're on your last life, right?
Yes, I know, I do play. Fuck's sake.
Should I go down the long way? Or should... Nah, I can just go around Emeralds. Smart point thinking.
I'm just gonna, like, run back to base. Right, give me this. Alright, you're okay. I'm just, like, letting Owen kill this person. Can someone break Owen's bed so it can be a fair 1v1?
I mean, just let me break this guy's bed first and not die.
No.
This Exo's
Exo, why can't you talk?
Exo's having his door stuff.
Well, he's done that.
Nah,
You know,
doors
he's
take
having-
a while, don't
He
you
got
know?
the tissue
Alright,
paper
that's
and he
actually
got the
fair
fairy
enough.
dish liquid soap instead of lube because he's
Door.
No, you motherfucking gay cunt!
F in the chat.
Oh, F in the chat for all
Any armor.
for these
He
dead
had normal
soldiers.
armor and he had 1 HP.
Yes, Exo! I should not have done that. Oh, I didn't die.
I put F. I did a music note. Fuck. Okay.
Guys, I'm
Right.
gonna do slash sniff next time.
And then then people will just be like, "Who's Carter Graham? Target him."
Arthur Graham 2010.
Just watch the
That
stream
was the
and then
greatest
expose
name we've
him.
ever got, mate.
Oh
Carter Graham.
no! Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah.
I did put the
Not
stream. I did put my channel in the Discord.
Did you? Alright.
I'm sorry, mate, but you fell off.
Just saying, all of my other videos are pretty bad. 5 people are watching me right now.
How very nice.
Okay,
I can hear my very smeggy voice.
If you're watching me,
You
that
can
means
hear
you
my
actually
very
have to be
voice that
amazing.
hasn't
And if you're
dropped
watching,
yet, but-
make sure to subscribe, like the video, and give.
No, don't do that. No. Like the
Joking.
video, it's
I'm
not a
joking.
video. It's
Everyone,
a stream.
Go to X_SIDED, and then doing
Mate,
everyone.
You can't say my name with that. Oh no, jump boost went out.
Oh my god, I can't.
And this is the moment that the TNT fucked up.
Yes, got it. Hey, you boy.
What?
Now he has to travel halfway across the map just to get to his base.
Yeah.
Time to stack up on stack.
I thought you were grey, Owen.
Mate, I'm white.
Yeah, we know.
I'm black.
And I'm
I'm
ginger.
yellow.
I'm red.
I'm orange.
Oh my god.
Everyone on
He's
Steam,
that middle.
go into
Red in that
Hypixel.
middle. Fucking kill him. He's now bridging over to your actual
Mate,
base.
anyone who's watching the stream will probably already be in my party.
Yeah, that's quite. I am.
48 subscribers. Subscribe, but post notifications will.
Wait, 48 subscribers already?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I had like.
That's
49.
on my bridge.
I had like 44 at the start today.
Oh boy, he's gay. He's got a bow.
No, he actually is gay though.
I'm actually trash at the bow, mate.
You never know.
You never know. I could hit a god shot and accidentally 2-tap him.
No, he actually is gay though.
I'm actually trash.
You never know.
You never know. I could hit.
Who has the channel the
Wait,
stream in the background?
I was watching the stream and I just saw Exo type something.
What is
S. Chinese dragon.
God damn it.
Me.
It always has to be SO. Alright. Okay, now we're going to go and do what we gonna do? Everyone,
No, my
Um,
bad line crashed.
Key list.
Fuck, pieces of shit.
Key list. Okay, we got 6 people. Let's go do party games.
Hold on, I gotta rejoin. My bad line crashed.
but no, we're doing party games. Yeah, we're doing party games.
Wait for me to join. My game crashed.
No.
Play Simon Says.
No.
More bed wars. Guys, whatever I see the most wins.
Party games.
Sky Wars, Sky Wiz, Sky Wants, Sky Will,
Fine, I'm gonna have to do a random number generator.
Sky Have.
Okay, 1 will be bed wars, 3 will be Sky Wars, 2 will be party games. Go. And it seems like we're gonna be doing Sky Wars.
No!
Let's go!
69?
What type of Sky Wars mode?
I'm back. I'm.
Flipping Lucky Blocks, let's go.
Wait, is that national? Is that national mode?
Yeah, go, when you go to the Sky Wars lobby, you go to Laboratory, then you go to Solo, then you go to the Lucky Block thing.
Oh no, not Lucky Block.
Yes, Lucky Blocks.
I'm good at it, but it's why?
What's that, guys? We need
Mate,
more
it's
people.
luck based. How are you good at luck?
Trust me, I'm very good at luck.
Definitely.
Yes. Oh, if it's slime, then I would destroy it.
Big Ripex though.
God damn it, I can't type that.
Whoa.
Then touch.
Whoa.
Gently. Alright, that
Touch
worked.
PP in.
Oh,
It
how?
wouldn't let me type masturbate.
For that,
Sim.
I gotta be honest. We gotta.
Where did Sim come from?
He won't touch his PP. Agreed. Oh no. What is X's avatar?
In a reverse card.
No, not Sky Wars, not Sky Wars. Anything but Sky Wars.
Okay, then let's do UHC.
Oh no. Remember when we all played UHC and it was me and EXO and we got lost and we couldn't find you and then a B-hopper was like slap, slap, slap.
Oh, that was funny. I also got 2 MVP pluses banned for b-hopping. It was a fun day.
It's so sad though. Whisk doesn't even play it anymore. He plays on Flux PvP.
No, guys.
Daddy, I'm a boy man, a big rock star.
Copyright!
Hey, you got mud on your face, you big
Copyright!
You do realize you have like 5 people watching.
Can't still copyright.
Yeah, but how much are you gonna make from this? Like 2p? Not even
Oh,
that.
no, I don't even make any money.
Oh boy.
I'm.
That's like link up with Tommy in it or like Pigacool or some shit and be like, hey, shout me out or I'll do a drive-by.
But yes, do a drive-by with a gun.
Oh, you should have seen the news yesterday. It was like 5-year-old Susan didn't get her birthday coronavirus. So her whole neighborhood did a drive-by. I was jamming on the fucking news. You best believe there was like 5 memes about it, and people were spamming me with it. Shut up, Gingy. You failed a portion.
Oh my god, this is definitely not what we needed in our channel.
Actually, let me go buy some perks. I have 60k coins.
Everyone just can you just trick out there to join my party? We need more people. The more we have, the better.
How many though?
As many as possible. I don't really mind. If you have 40, we'll do it. Okay,
Oh,
Effie.
imagine Oi, send that in the Discord.
Oh
Then
my
we can
god.
just like advertise.
Yeah. Yeah, do put in Discord.
Or no.
No.
And then we see a helper and we're like, oh shit.
Hey
Hey,
Ollie,
help.
look in your lobby.
Are you bored? Do you want to have a fair vote on what to play? Do such. Wait, why did you put all caps? You retard.
Hey, but Alex isn't here.
Put in the.
Am
Put it.
I?
Oh, I've already been in this lobby. Alright
Put
then.
it in the what's it called? Discord, so we
Right,
can
I'm
just
gonna
copy paste
upgrade
it.
my black magic.
I don't
and-
have it copy pasted. I just use enter arrow enter.
No, it's just.
Oh, what does nourishment do?
Hey,
I
we
got
are.
someone.
We just need one more person. You just clicked your thread. That's definitely true. We need one more person, by the way, and then we're gonna do party names.
You got to be nice and friendly when they join. Now let me go get some kits in the soul well, as I have 191 out of 190
Okay.
souls.
Oh, he's asking to join the Discord. Shall we? Wait, shall we make our own Discord thing? Group?
Oh yeah, just got a juggernaut.
Owen, we need to create our own custom Discord.
Should we just use my Discord?
Yes,
Oh god.
and then everyone's gonna do the douche thing. Do it. Put it in the
Alright.
chat.
Gamer69. Can't wait to be flipping it. I'm gonna
Guys, everyone gotta join the general douche chat in
Right.
Game69.
Invite
So-
people. I want disinvite code.
I don't have the invite code.
Oh yeah, Alice needs as well. What is your? Oh my god.
I don't know, I just can't be asked to fucking change it. Right? Don't bully me. Night Kit insane. Oh boy, he would have wanted that.
I can't send Discord thing.
Then shove a dick up your ass. That's the party killer. Oh boy, let me try join a party even though I'm in a party.
No, it's absolutely amazing, isn't it? Isn't it? How many people do we have in our?
What did EXO just send?
I don't know. This is Exo though, so don't question him.
He took a screenshot and then he like did something made it very very weird. Well, when you click on that, nothing happens, Owen, you monk. Can
Well,
I
yes,
get
but it
one of
doesn't
you-
let me send it.
Can I get an invite?
No,
Like
send
the,
him.
when you put one in the Goose Gang thing. Oh fuck that. Welcome in it. Oh
Yes.
god. It's like
Everyone, join General Goose.
okay.
Oh no!
Owen, put it in my stream. Oh my god.
There you are, but in the stream.
Place being bombed by the Japs.
What? Why are we in this one?
Why are we in
because-
place being bombed by the Japanese?
No,
Well,
you
go
gotta
with it,
change
guys. Just
that.
go with it.
Guys, we need one more person. One more person.
There we are.
My
Right, now I need to
Skywars
make this
level is
private.
level 9.
Missions. No. No one can join. View channel, they can see us, yes.
And if anyone,
Next,
if they like
no,
anyone's
right,
voice, that makes
done.
us amazing. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate the.
Suck your mum.
Oh,
Who
shut up.
said
No. Hold up. Y'all like the Xbox?
He's a peasant, he can go somewhere else.
Oh god.
Owen, have you put the Discord in the stream?
what?
By being good.
I am a gamer.
He's been sent to General Goose. Wait, why is this one locked? They can't join us.
They don't want to. We don't want them to.
This is gonna be in hell.
If you want to interact with your audience, you go fuck off with Killer.
I can't join the chat.
muted himself so bad there. Oh my god.
He can't join the cat.
Wait, what have I?
God.
Oh my
Oh
god.
wait, is he?
I want to join.
Oh, and you did a setting. Look, if I move him in here, now he's server muted.
Wait, I've been
Wait,
server
is he?
muted.
Yeah, cause it's a setting. See, look,
Wait,
this
did I
guy. If
join
I
too?
move him out because he's a fag, and then I move him in, now he's server muted.
No, no.
Suppressed. Oh god.
No, wait, they're not so muted.
I can only imagine what would happen if my parents just saw my stream.
No.
Oh, advertise it. We need one more player.
Oh no.
Get that shit out of here. I'll play you an actual good song.
Wait. No, don't. We'll get them banned on YouTube. No.
No, it's not gonna be that. Anime back thought. No, you.
Wait, where? How do I?
Oh, and I've got this. What's this?
Whoa. I feel like I should cover up the camera right now.
I'm muting that.
I got it out. Hold on.
I just didn't play high and it was then it's like. Whoa.
Where? What's up? I'm stupid.
No.
I have a good. I can fix that though.
No.
Guys, everyone listen.
Ah, you bitch.
Right,
I have the magical.
That's it.
Oh no! Wait,
I can't save.
I can't disconnect it.
7. We still need one more.
Just go, Ollie. Just go.
we'll get a
By the
random
way,
non
I already have.
party.
Oh my
Oh.
god. Citra will be enough. Citra.
What the fuck?
Oh yay!
Oh, what is this?
Guys, everyone targeted 2 random people. I'm joking.
Wait, who are they?
They're
Who are the
just-
two
Advertise.
random people?
but,
Banana and Max. Okay.
Advertisement.
Why is it? Why party game?
Why is it this game?
Why party games?
Target
You bet
kill
one.
him, kill him with his family. He threw himself up the first thing he did.
Ow! I'm not dead yet.
Himself up.
You should be dead now.
Ow! Died.
Right,
My God!
Oh, and they're targeted!
Oh no! Don't kill me! I'm gonna put on a song.
Oh, no, by the way, I muted that, so just so my
Your
audience.
stream won't be hell.
Oh.
You're
I was
looking
about to see you in me.
My stream's already hell.
Bang! And no!
Oh my god. So did you kill her again?
Yeah, he's not in the song.
If anyone from my channel watching, then it's the actual finish.
Oh my God! I'm out the map.
Damn it! Answer, you
Made it out
have
the map.
Boom!
I just slapped a pig into his face.
Oh, and I made it out the map.
Come here, Owen.
I can make it out the map as well. Oh my god, the map just goes.
Oh
through.
hey.
Yes! I didn't
wonder
come
how-
first for once.
Yeah,
I
because
think
I
I'm
sweat
lost.
this time.
Oh boy! Why this?
I
Of all
watch
things.
like every day.
Why did? Bro, I'm playing on extreme shaders. Why?
Why are you playing on extreme shaders? That doesn't make
That's
sense.
Because then I can flex how much my PC can handle, unlike your potato laptop.
I don't know how to get shaders.
Guys, I'm pretty.
Exactly, because you're so
Guys,
shit at this game.
wait, have I been serving you to again?
No.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure my stream is having like a heart attack.
Oh, really?
What if it wasn't already?
Yeah, I
It
mean,
wasn't already.
Using your mum, mate. Oh my god, Killer might win this one.
Killer's actually.
I can't find any grass.
It's right up your fat ass.
What ass? Wait a minute.
The one that your mum gave you. And then your sister sucked on.
What, mum?
Both.
You just adopted.
Both of them.
The one that got killed after the Japanese
Oh, and
war.
both of them.
The one that got killed after the Japanese bombing. The one got killed after Pearl Harbor.
What's that say?
Come on, it's
What
all
does
the bad ones.
What is this? I've never done. Oh!
What do you have to do?
Why is it like look like there's water on the floor?
Because that's just
Oh no,
that's just the ashes of the dead.
When you
This
hit
is
boost,
gay.
it doesn't do anything.
When
Oh,
you
it's-
actually like
10.
I need three.
Yes! I got a 10.
I need my hacking client back. How do I get this? There, you just have to.
I've got none. Actually, I've got four. Why
got
does my
six.
game sound like?
That's just on the stream shaders.
Why is everyone so quiet?
Who the hell
Man.
jumped on me is really me.
Because this is just like the most try-hard game out of them all. It involves the most concentration.
Come on.
Oh!
Points! Give me the points!
Give me your mum.
I need
Yes, I got a
points!
10 one.
How do you
Points!
get up to this?
Yes!
Shift.
Points. Points! Yes!
I was
You-
about to get 6 at the end. Fuck.
Oh, look at that! I'm doing so bad.
Jigsaw rush. Hey.
No!
Let's go!
I wanna go!
If we get chickens, you're all dead.
What?
Don't
I
worry.
don't know how to do this. Where
Uneven,
is it?
all of us hate this.
I can't
Stone.
tell. Is that cobblestone?
Brick. It's stone, cobble,
Oh,
nether brick, wood, my mum, a little
Yes,
bit.
Ollie! Getting second, Ollie!
I don't care. I filled it all with. Mm.
I see yours. Sorry, if anyone's watching my stream, you can see episodes right there.
So good. Why?
Why are we
I
slaughtering
didn't even
little
try this one,
animals?
I just like
Half the
AFK.
time the name tag doesn't even load up.
It's not stream friendly!
No, this is definitely stream friendly. No one likes chickens.
What, shanking up cow?
Why is there minus 50%?
Cow, get your butt back here, cow! Cow!
Oh my
Stop running, you little gotcha.
No!
Why do you want
Shit. What do you mean negative
Why
50?
is everything I hit negative 50? Yes, mine.
That's a negative 50. Oh, that's a negative.
I don't even like. I hate
Look,
playing. This game is actually bad.
I almost hit another negative 51.
I just hit a 50.
I hate the chickens though, because you can one-shot the chickens.
But then they also give you negative 50.
Yeah.
I'll just choose one or the other.
Come here, you.
That's a minus 50.
Why? Why are all of the negative 50 ones like one shot?
No, I don't know.
Chickens, man. You gotta go with that flow.
That's.
Yay.
Who's banana?
Triple
It's just one of the randoms.
Oh!
No!
Time! I should put my
Who the hell's Phoenix?
The thing.
yellow for piss!
Stop it! I'm yellow. I'm actually like cuckoo.
No, I'm yellow.
No, I'm yellow.
No, I'm
I'm
yellow.
yellow.
No, I'm yellow.
It's colored, bitch.
I'm pretty sure it's just you're all yellow for yourself.
Someone
Oh, heck off!
I got the best strats.
Go yellow! Yes, yellow!
No, that's barely legal. You are actually barely legal.
Why? What is that? Why has Killer got
Oh,
a
I
gun?
love this game.
Have you seen Killer's skin?
Yeah.
It's a
very,
tarantula rainbow thing.
It's
gay.
Oh yeah, that kid, that other
Come here,
one, one of the people in the stream is awesome. We need everyone, like 7
It's
people
that
in
Oh my
the
God,
chat.
we're so bad.
Is that Owen doing the same strat as me?
Why can I not hit anybody? Why I was just whacking this guy and I go to hit them.
Fuck off.
Anna! No!
Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off.
Crap.
I can't hit anybody!
No, fuck off, I will stab you.
When you can't hit Alex. Nay!
Oh, he's actually insane. Like I don't just. Oh my god.
Yes, jungle jump!
Guys, this one's so weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's not about treating the women. It's just about doing it, finishing it.
Oh, here we go.
Fat ass up.
Fuck off! Dang it! I beat Alex!
One block ahead of me, you bitch! Oh god.
Oh my god, I'm trying to press spacebar. It's just like.
Ahead of me. 2, look at that.
Yes, EXO!
Oh,
did it.
dang it, you were 2 ahead of me.
How the fuck do I turn my sound on?
Go into options, go into music and sound.
Master volume is all the way up!
I think the French Baguette has won this. Alright, I came second, at least I got like 10.
Guys, what are we doing now? Everyone in P chat, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Bring me into the call! Okay, we'll bring Phoenix into the call.
Yes.
Hey, Wugger, welcome to the call.
Why is he muted?
Who knows?
Oh my god, I've just explained it to you! Fucking stupid.
Oh yeah.
Guys, we're not doing that.
Permissions. Speak. Yes.
No, they're not allowed to speak.
Killer still wants to come
Let
back.
them speak.
Guys, what are we
I'll
doing?
get him in the call.
Everyone in party chat, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Who's...
There we are
Whether
now.
they can speak.
Where is he? Where is he? There he is. Fuck you.
Okay, everyone, what are we doing?
Party games.
Turning my shell.
Sure, party games. Do the gay thing that.
That's 2 for party games, lads.
Anyone else? Anyone? What? Anything else?
Not part.
Sure, party. Oh, it's 3 for party.
Alright, boys, so, we need one more vote to make it pass.
How many more people do
No.
we need?
You do not have permission to speak now.
What the fuck am I
here
hearing?
comes the
Oh, Phoenix, no.
What was that? Was that groovy?
No, yeah, that was groovy. That was Phoenix saying fucked all
Oh.
night.
I'll play something.
What's up?
No.
What the hell?
Oh, let's go play. Guys, let's go play party games.
Move your fucking perm.
I'm coming down here. Don't come down here or I'll rape you.
Oh my god.
If you do it, then you're gay. No.
Alright, we're in party games.
Touching his butt. There we go.
No, not this one.
Yes!
Head out.
I'm yellow, boy!
No, I'm yellow.
No, I'm yellow.
I was yellow before. Now I'm yellow.
I'm the best yellow man. What do you
No, I'm
want?
yellow.
I'm the jazz man. Or Zero, the gay man.
Yellow is after the best
The
minute.
same strat, but you can go suck your mum.
What, mum?
Both.
The one that
Oh boy, it just got burned!
Okay, you could have had the Asian ninja man.
Who's this yellow man?
Yes, second.
so well.
No, not this one.
Yes! Torture.
I don't know how you play this one.
Oh, Anvil's fully fuck off.
Don't
does
don't
this
fall
work?
off and don't get smacked by an ant.
I guess it's just like
No. I'm
Do it
distracted. Harvest us.
Look, how did you get on it? How did you get into Sorry, how did you get it? You guys did my
Like,
What just happened?
I don't know,
Yeah,
he's
I
fucking
think
died.
Phoenix was being spanked or something. Then how do you get on it?
I'm absolutely amazing at this.
dang it, what that was not on me. Dang it.
R.I.P. Oh my god, I almost got mayonnaise by an ant. I deserve the win.
No, you don't.
Because this man's just running around like, yes, I will.
Ninja bear.
By the way, I'm small.
Oh, no.
Guys, I'm small Robin, by the way. And Nick.
It's animal slaughter. I'm gonna slaughter an animal. Look, I'm slaughtering an animal.
Oh, okay.
Chicken.
Guys,
I one hit a pig and I thought I flipping just lost like.
Owen, do you see me? Let's go!
Hop and not a killer around this.
No, wait, no, that's half. Okay, let me. You. No! Why did you move it?
Why are you riding the pig? What the fuck? Alright, let's do this! No, how does this? This doesn't work. I don't have a carrot on a stick.
You don't need one. Yeah.
I'm hitting a pig. Stop this.
I hope you all did a bit. Oof.
Ha!
Slaughter.
Alex has smacked a poor negative 50%.
Oh yeah,
here.
who is this Asian ninja bear?
Probably like curry.
Asian ninja bear, who knows?
Also,
I will win! We'll slap for 50 at the end.
Why is there only 4 people in our lobby?
I don't know who the hell's small. Oh wait, that's that highway for.
Dang it! I was so close to it!
I don't even get there, but I mean, at least I got a star.
There's a strat you can do. You swim over to the island and then for the whole game you survive.
Well, does not work anymore though.
Yeah, it does. You just gotta get there before the game begins.
Guys, I already have 5 lights on my video. 4 now because I realised.
Oh my god, fucking rapid fire.
Small Robin died honourable death.
I'm gonna test if you can.
You know what?
No, I'm too slow. Alright.
Oh fuck.
Dirt stone, dirt stone.
Yeah. Does anyone else just do that? You get blindness too after mining the first block. Dirt, stone, dirt. Wood.
Okay guys, what are we doing after this? Shall we? We need more people in our party, by the way. We have like 4. Or like 3 now. Alright guys, yeah, as I said, what are we doing?
Good question, because I've got to go after this.
Do you?
Go have my lunch.
Oh,
Finally.
what? Already?
Lunch at like 3
Yeah.
PM, are you mental?
Yeah, I know. He's
I
French.
haven't had any lunch,
He's French, so
okay.
he's different.
R.I.P. Exo will be remembered.
Will he though?
Probably.
Yes. He was, the best at insulting killer. He was the best at making killer rage.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
And also, he overall. he's-
I beat you! No! Dang it, he beat me by 1. Oh, jungle jump.
jungle thing.
Oh, I hate this one.
Is it gonna be the same thing again?
Yeah.
No. Oh, fuck. I got like a really good start on that.
I got an extremely good start, mate. So much so that I'm almost at the finish.
Same. Like a boy.
One,
No!
2, don't mess up that.
One,
Yep, okay, finished. Damn it!
Like that!
Asian Ninja Bear beat me!
I beat you all.
I'm just gonna go behind
Wait,
you.
me and Asian Ninja Bear tied.
I did that again, by the
I
way.
came third, I've still got the most stars, no one's beating me for ages.
I got third. I got third.
Unless Asian Ninja Bear
Spider-Man.
becomes actual Ninja Bear.
Which way we
Okay,
go?
here's the gay spider that's about to kill us all.
Yeah, there is a tactic which you can do, which is
Go
literally
into Alt
to
F5.
R.I.P.
Shit.
That man.
Let me just go for that these cobwebs.
R.I.P. Phoenix.
Oh my god, there's 2 spiders here. I'm
Let's
scared.
go, Owen.
No, I need to go this way. Yes, got it. Second.
No. Don't end. I'm like 5 studs away from this.
Where is Nitty?
Oh, there you go. Okay, there we go. Oh,
Okay, I'm actually amazing at this one.
What is it? Dive? What you meant to do?
You'll see. Just dive.
Are you meant to just?
Asian Ninja Bear has the right idea.
Just put on toggle run.
What are we doing? What will dare a lot of people to join our party? Owen?
Good question. Who knows?
Somehow I managed to miss the whole arena.
That's the first. No, I need meant to jump. Jump. Go. Yes. Go. Yes.
Dang it, I just keep on landing on orange shit.
Be careful now. We are.
Get your dropper skills in the game, Alex. Whoa.
Dropper skills, you say? Then I must be the best.
Ah,
I'm the best of droppers.
Hey.
Sky Wars.
I brought it back.
You have 2 people in the party.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Slash P list. It's just me and you. Sky Wars duo. Let's do a Sky War 1v1. Or a sumo.
Sumo 1v1.
Yes.
Hey, let me reset my net actually.
Wait for thing. You know, there you go. Duel to a sumo.
Let's do sumo. I accept. Oh. What?
There are new servers running. Oh, just gotta keep on doing it.
Wait, how many people are in our party? Just 2.
Yeah, it's me now. There you go. How good are you at sumo?
Okay.
Okay.
At best.
You're okay. What? What?
No, where's my kill aura?
The combo.
Where's my kill aura?
It disappeared.
God damn it. I was meant to have that. I don't want to have a rematch.
You walked. Why though?
You scare me.
Okay.
I said that I just leave.
All right. Let's do Sky Wars.
I have a better idea. We'll do the Sky Wars. Or just, what's it called? We're not going to do a duel. We're just going to do normal Sky Wars. However, it's on private party, isn't it?
Oh boy, there's a hacker. There's a hacker doing the fucking. What's it called? What you do? What is it? Insane! It's insane.
That's the what's it called? Lucky.
I don't ever go in doing. Oh, it's lucky. But you get your kit.
No, you don't. It's lucky. What type of stuff you can get?
I got a kit.
I got +4 hearts.
Where did my weapon go?
What's that? A self-attacking sword?
There it is. Did you not get a kit at the beginning?
No. I mean, I did. I got 2% at the beginning, but. No.
Give me armor and I'll just rush. Oh, I got a capture. Okay. Ninja move, that's the gay thing. Imagine failing the bridge to middle. Shit, lag! No, lag! Why? Oh, I lagged! I lagged! I lagged.
Sorry, by the way, do you see my island?
Oh no, I do not. Where is it? Where kit hoarder? Okay, I got kit hoarder.
Okay, let's just do. What type of mode? We have Hunter versus Beast. Ooh, what's this? Slime.
Oh yes, yes. Thank you, thank you.
Hmm?
Actually, thank you. Oh,
Which one?
thank you so much. Thank you.
What? What?
Thank you.
No, like what?
Thank-
Why?
Thank you. Let's get ready to lose. Oh, you get protection on everything as well. It's glorious. Right, I need leggings and I'm good. Okay, I didn't get leggings, so this is gonna be really fair for you, but not fair for you.
Why am I trying to bridge with slime blocks?
You do know you could double jump.
Oh yeah. Didn't help.
You do know that you just wasted a whole win.
Look how many stars I have.
Oh, nice. You're really good at this game. Oh, yes. Ah, so many people are messaging me.
Low gravity.
Wait, is it actually?
Yeah.
There is
just-
a bit, but it's very low. There we go. So, where are you right now on the?
on an island.
You're still losing? Oh my.
Do you think I have 4 iron now?
Did you just fall into the void again?
Nope.
Okay, so where do you want to meet, Bucko?
Oh, I'm just having. I'm not gonna say. I'm just gonna fight.
I'm just watching. Right, these slimes couldn't die. There you go. There's 2 types of knockback and slime balls. Get over here.
Boom.
Bye. No, I said bye.
He just do spamming.
The best technique to win the game. Oh, well, they died.
Oh, someone's dead. Oh wait, shall we go and grab some more players?
Sure. How many people
After
are
this
watching
game.
the stream?
How many players is a max on this? There's like 8.
You know, I'm not even gonna loot up. I'm just gonna run and hi hun. No, what is this? What is this?
My god, I was trying to use that.
I got stuck on a block. How fun.
What does Karma even do?
What does karma do? It makes you look like a big boy because you play so much.
Alright. Let me just... Hey, Eto's back. Let's see who's even online.
FP__XO.
You're online. You're online.
/F list. If you make it so anyone can invite, then I can invite like up to 5 people.
Yeah, I already have. It's stream party, which means anyone can join, even if I don't invite them.
No, like I can invite people.
Okay.
For cool games, plus VIP games. There we go.
We have someone joining us. Now we're going to be doing... What's this? TNT Madness.
Oh, someone join. I got someone to join.
Why is there only 2 of us? What's that? Don't leave.
Oh.
Okay, we're just gonna have a another game. Now, but with this guy now. Okay.
Okay. TNT Madness. Should I use this kit or should I go Energix? That would be really good.
Oops. I actually have some game modifiers on.
Why can you get diamond helmets in this mode? What? No comment. Fuck, go. Oops. I forgot it wasn't slime when I tried double jumping, but I just jumped into the void.
I don't think that's how it works.
It's hard being the best.
I want diamond armor. But it's only 3 diamonds.
You actually mine the blocks.
No, not really.
Let me see what this kid is doing. He's blowing up his island. You do know he's at middle right now. Oh, damn. Now time to advertise.
Oh no, there's a helper
Is there actually where? What?
in my server. Not your server.
What server are you in?
Number 1.
Mm. 3, 2, 1. You have been banned. Advertiser friendly.
We have another person.
Do we? Yes.
We need more. Okay. We don't just...
Oh boy, you're already asking for the stream link. There's someone simping on a helper.
Why?
I don't know, they said, hope you have a great day.
Can we do Private Sky Wars now? You know what, yeah, we'll have a game. We'll have a game and then we'll try to get some more people.
Yeah.
But it's just normal, do it.
Oh, it's normal. You know how many sweats there are in this? There's like 3 sweats. You're not the only sweat.
I'm not stressed. Oops. I asked something to mid, nope.
Oh hey, it's a gay kid.
Hello?
Hello. We're just doing some private, what's it called, Skywars right now. Oh my god, already?
Yes, already. Hey Owen, we're playing Sky Wars and I just stabbed that waiter.
Yes, I know. Dude,
Oh man!
dough.
Oh god, chat. One.
I just started 10 people right now. Because everyone else left before, because we were doing some bed wars and then I
I
got
can't believe
spammed.
that. He hit me off.
Who's left, by the way? That was fast.
Oh, he's got that. Why do people buy that? Why don't you... Instead of wasting your money on that, waste your money on perk.
On manage, you mean?
Right, now me and Owen are the only good ones here.
What?
Hold on. Yeah?
I've not played Skywars in ages. What kid's a good kit? Armorer. That's a good kit. My keyboard is too clicky.
Let me just do that one right. Anyone at mid? Who doesn't bridge to mid? I'll ask again. Who doesn't bridge to mid? I want a good.
Your mother.
Okay, fair play.
Mid is success. Your mother doesn't bridge to it. How got he? Oh my god, how much
It's
flipping
the
damage
cleaner.
do you have to do, mate?
Goodbye.
Bullying, mate.
Cleaner mode. What the fuck? Oh, he had a sharp sword. If Wafer. Where's Wafer? Oh, here he is.
Eggs!
He's gonna clap you.
Yeah, okay, guys, shall we donate some more people?
Sure, if you want. Good luck. Hit people after this. Good luck. Die. Wait, how are you level 11 but you got clap?
I haven't played Skywars in ages, okay? Right.
Alright, makes sense.
We now have diamond armor.
Oh, yay! Now the spawn islands are absolutely OP.
That was OP.
The
How this
Visco
game
Islands.
should be.
Is this now? Yes!
Fuck.
I'm pretty sure in normal mode you don't have diamond in
armor.
every chair.
Ah, fire aspect.
Dang it, you already got fire aspect?
Jesus, I only have an iron sword.
What? Bro, this man can combo me while on fire.
Yeah. People, you can still do that.
That's an
Have you
illegal.
heard of skill? Obviously not. Hold on, this kid is just teleporting. Whoa, he hit me with a rod, so I'm gonna fuck off. Oh, a real fast rod. Can I, like, just enchant all the gear I have and be like, I don't even have any bottles. What's the point of enchanting? Without bottles? Right, let's put this on.
Oh my god, okay, that's actually a sick play. He knocked me off there like anything.
Oh god, that was insane. What the fuck? Oh, he's gonna camp. Okay.
Yeah, guys, shall we donate some more players after this?
Yep.
Go
Oh,
get more
I'm
players
going to
now.
the void. No, stay away, thought. He's just dying. Oh, yeah, 0 HP! Oh. Oh, there we go. Wait, what? What?
Sporticus.
Get the kills so cool.
I do. Right. Advertisement moment. There we go. Owen.
Yeah.
Oh my god, voice break. But how much does your magma farm get you each day?
A lot.
Like how much per day?
Depends if anyone AFKs.
If someone AFKs, how much do you get?
Like,
About 500k.
wait, what?
Yeah.
Shit.
What, do you play Skyblock?
Yeah. But I'm solo and everyone in my co-op, it doesn't help.
Oh, God.
And they won't leave either.
I've just went into about so many different places.
Let's play Skyblock, actually. Even though I'm not in your co-op. Wait, wafer thingy. I have a really shitty pumpkin farm now. Wait, invite me to your co-op? Pretty sure I have a free space.
Oh, why did you leave the party?
Now I want to go do party games.
Oh, Alice, what, is that your name? Is that what you want me to call you?
Yeah.
We can't even
I
go
got-
on this yet, by the way. The menu, Skyblock. I'll walk you to my island. It's just that we can't invite you unless everyone's online.
Oh yeah. I have I can be like I could build you a farm. I just need the blocks. No, I was just farming pumpkins. Do you want some free chickens? Do you want some free chickens? Come here, have some chickens.
So thank you.
I can't drop them. You have to trade request. Have some chickens that I'd kill. And have some pumpkins actually. Yeah, have some Oh boy, 7 diamonds, fair trade. Oh
you.
yay!
Such a fair trade.
Yay, definitely. Not if I got scammed. In my ender chest, I have 2 old stacks of enchanted redstone. Like 1, 2, something too much. I'm gonna start a new co-op.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be on my own. Right, profile management, pair, delete.
I can't do that.
Oh, you have to go.